Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PRL Hungary.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
This is the 11th round of Season 10, and as you can see, we are struggling a little bit here in qualifying. Unfortunately through there we were green until the chicane. Once again green on the delta, but wide, and that'll be invalid. And then I had one final attempt. The last corner, set to improve, but no fuel left. And we'll be stranded down in P5 with Maznat on pole once again. Kart Dude joining him on the front row. Danny, my teammate, in third, and Stuart in fourth. Now look at Stuart's tyres. We have a wet start to the race. He's on inters, everyone else on full wets. Incredible call by the Williams driver. And of course he gets a bad start as a result, but will it come to him? We'll have to wait and see how the race pans out. Down the inside of Kart Dude, we got a bit of a hit from behind. I think that may have been Murph.
We're looking good from the start.
We clipped into Maznat and a bit of side-by-side contact with Kart Dude, who's still alongside us. We just about avoid the rear of the Renault. We had to go deep to try and go around the outside of the Sauber. So it's all kicking off here, but we've gained 3 positions as a result. Danny, I think, is still P4.
We think there's a viable strategy change available to us. Would you like to keep to the current plan or try the new one?
No, I wasn't able to go with Maz for the first 2 laps, but then it started to plateau. We also got away from Danny and Kart. Danny, of course, passing Kart Dude, then starting to match our times, but had lost a lot of time in the meantime. It was time for inters at some point, and Maznat took that opportunity to pit at the end of lap 9. I made the call for Danny to go in that lap because she'd just passed Kart Dude and I didn't want her to be re-overtaken. I would take the hit as the teammate that would go an extra lap, not realising at the time that that would make a huge influence on the rest of the race.
We're seeing some good times set by drivers on intermediates. Pit in and get your tyres changed.
So Kart Dude there setting the fastest lap, and the times are tumbling.
Exit now.
I have pitted a lap too late. Maznat flies past. We had about 3 seconds to him before. It's more like 8 after the pit stops. And there you go, 8.5. Danny Rock's gaining some time though, so not all was lost for the team, who start setting fastest laps, catching up to the front too. Stuart now, of course, the leader, having not had to pit. Brilliant strategy by him. But now we've visibly caught up to the front too. They've started battling. Stuart, of course, on much older inters, having started the race on those tyres. Maz appears to have so much more grip, and indeed he gets around the outside at the last turn. Fantastic manoeuvre. And takes the lead of the race, does the Renault driver once again. The very next lap we find ourselves caught up to Stuart, his tyres really suffering. He actually makes a pit stop. Fantastic for us, we get the free overtake. The tyres absolutely dead on the Williams.
The track is drying, but it's going to take a while to clear the standing water off the line. Don't start thinking about slicks just yet.
Now we had to consider, when were slicks going to be viable? Maznat pitted 2 laps after Stuart, hoping to cover him off possibly, realising that he wouldn't be able to get his inters to the end. So in he went for another set of intermediates, and that saw me into the lead of the race, and instantly the cogs started turning. Would my tyres last till the dry?
Okay, I think the track will be drying out quite soon. Mind you don't burn out your tyres.
And that's exactly what Jeff was encouraging me to do.
Okay, the weather's certainly eased off for the time being, but we've still got a lot of standing water out there. We're happy for you to stay out on the inters for now.
The laps started to tick down. I was doing roughly 3% a lap on the rear left, which seemed to be the problem tyre, and in all likelihood my tyres probably will puncture at this rate. Danny pitted, she couldn't make it. 3 laps to go, we had 72%. I don't usually like to take them over 75, but they were already at that with 2 to go, and it was starting to become very scary. I was pretty confident I was going to get a puncture at this rate, but also, look at the conditions. It's dry. That's a Force Indy coming out of the pit lane right there, OP Magic. We put him a lap down.
Dropping a second a lap to the car behind, 1 second.
He's going to come flying past on slick tyres that are fresh. We're also dropping time to Stuart, whose tyres are obviously a lot fresher. I'm not only nursing my tyres for the conditions, but also for the amount of wear they've got. I'm basically driving on eggshells here. He's catching me at about a second a sector at this point. OP just flashes past, DRS enabled. It's clearly dry enough for the slick compound tyres, especially those super softs you can see on the Force India. And just listen, there's hardly any throttle input for me at all. Stuart coming at me at a rate of knots. It was down to 5 seconds. I thought I had that managed, but it was just about whether I had a puncture or not. At that point I thought I may have had one because that warning symbol came up there with the exclamation mark in the triangle. Fastest laps popping in everywhere. I have no pace, but Stuart had made an error, cost himself his front wing. So in that regard I was safe. It was purely about whether the rear left would puncture or not. The front left didn't look too good either, actually. It was catching up. And look at how slow I was driving. The race leader on the final lap of the race, dead to rights basically. I was actually 14 seconds slower than the ultimate fastest lap on lap 35 this lap. And Maznat, the early race leader, retires, so it's gone all wrong for the Renault driver, and that'll see my points margin increase to over 100 in the championship standings. But as you can see, final corner, our tyre is still intact, that car is lapped, that's Kremer. He's going to get through, actually unlap himself and go and take Maz's position. Lucky for him I didn't get to the finish any quicker. But there you go, we've actually done it. Win number 7 on the season. Stewart actually falls behind Kart Dude with a penalty at the end. Lap time is still tumbling, you can see them in the bottom left there. Stunningly quick lap times, I think OP gets it in the end. So much quicker than me, 10 seconds quicker than my fastest lap of the race, 14 seconds quicker than my final lap. My god, we had to work for that. I was absolutely bricking it, thinking I was going to get a puncture. Sometimes strategy pays off when you take a little bit of a risk. Not only do we record our 7th victory of the season, but we are the first driver to emulate Season 9 success, backing it up by winning at the same track in consecutive seasons. Next race will be Spa-Francorchamps. I've been Jacko. See you then.